back in McMinnville, Oregon, where Linfield has defeated Pacific by the score of 77-10. Talking with Linfield head coach Joe Smith. And first of all, Coach, congratulations on a great win today and a really strong first half of the season. Very impressive.
You know, I'm really pleased with how our guys are playing right now. We're hitting in all three cylinders. You know, particularly special teams. We're very dangerous at this point, and some of that's because of the veteran players that we have there, and you know, we can get better. But I'm very happy with where we're playing right now.
Yeah, I had come to this game expecting Pacific to provide you guys enough of a challenge that I would get to see the first string play in the third quarter, and that didn't particularly happen. You guys came out really strong on offense this week, whereas perhaps not as much in weeks past, and it was really not a game after about 16 minutes or so.
I know. You know, I don't know if Sam's played in the third quarter yet this season. I think he's been out so early, so I was hoping that we could play a full game too, and then I told our guys before the game, I really hope we get down. I hope we're not playing well. I hope we can see what we're made of when things aren't going well. But you know, that will happen at some point. But real pleased with how they're playing, and Pacific's a good team. They're well coached. Just wasn't going well for them today.
When you're fortunate enough to be coaching a team like that, that is, you know, that has so much more talent and is, you know, executing really well, and as the season goes along and you haven't had that test, you know, how does it feel? What did the team go through? What do you think when you're wondering if that's going to come?
Well, I think that's an issue. I mean, it is. You know, I remember when we did play Whitewater, that game you were referencing, they'd never been behind, you know, and what does a team do when suddenly you've been behind? There's a shock factor there. So, you know, I don't like us winning easily all the time. I'd much rather see us, I mean, you want to win. I get that. You want to play well, but we do need to be tested. We do need to see what happens when the chips are down and we're not playing well, and how we're going to respond and play under that great pressure. You know, is what you're talking about, making plays under duress when the game's on the line. It's a different feeling than when you're up by 30. You know, it's a whole different game. So at some point we will get that, and we need that. Our conference has some good teams in it still, so we'll get some teams that come up with a good game plan to slow us down and provide some issues.
So there's 230 Division III football teams in the East and Central time zones, and there's 16 of you or so out here on the West Coast. For those of the rest of us, tell us what West Coast D3 football is all about.
Well, you know, I think our Northwest Conference is really well coached. You know, they've got a lot of good coaches in it that are balancing the academics and the athletics in a well-rounded fashion, and they're schematically pretty sound, and so I think much of the Pac-12 innovation gets put into the Northwest, and so I think you see a lot of creative type offenses that maybe you don't see in some other parts of the country. Because we're not really talent-based. You know, other parts of the country I think are really talent-based offenses or talent-based defenses where they're vanilla and they're just going to win because they've got better guys. Mm-hmm. That's really not how we play. You know, most of the teams out here are schematic-based teams, so they're relying on their schemes and their execution together to overcome maybe talent deficiencies, and so I think that's probably what, you know, West Coast football is about.
So I don't know if you guys heard, but Whitewater lost today, lost to Oshkosh. You know, I don't know if the #1 ranking is in the offing for you guys necessarily this week, depending on where the ballots fall. But, you know, how does it feel maybe knowing the season might be a little more wide open on a national scale right now?
You know, first of all, Pat Cerrone in Oshkosh is a really awesome football program, and I really feel like had they been in the playoffs, been let in, they would have really been a formidable team. So that doesn't surprise me. They're really well coached. Those guys are hard-nosed, tough. So that's a tough matchup. You know, obviously we know what Whitewater can do, and whoever comes out of that league is a great football team, a great team, not a good one, but a great one. And it's the same old players. I mean, we can say there's 240 teams all we want, but there's 7, 8 programs, and they're gonna be the best teams year in, year out for a variety of reasons. It's a long discussion to say why, but you know, it is interesting. I mean, for us, the playoff rankings it's a big deal with the travel. You know, so I'd say that's probably where that comes down to: is are you playing, you know, in a Central time zone or an Eastern time zone or a Western one, and then you throw the weather in it. Those make some issues, but quite frankly, we want to go back to Wisconsin. I want to play Whitewater back there some one of these days, and that'd be fun. I'd love to go play Mount Union someday. That's an unbelievable venue. I don't know that I want to play Mount Union, but I sure love their venue. When they let us come out there and watch them play a couple years ago, that was fun. So we'll see.
Head coach Joe Smith of the Linfield Wildcats. His team defeated Pacific by the score of 77-10.